Hey everybody, I am Mark Comfort, and I am so excited to talk to you about this hosted river cruise I will be doing on the Nile River, and starting in Cairo and ending in Cairo. Right now it's March 22nd, and so it'd be almost exactly a year from now, March 24th through April 4th of 2025. And I'm really excited to say that we will be using AMA Waterways, and we will be on their newest ship called the Lilia. Lilia. And that's a big deal because a lot of the ships on the Nile River are older ships. So this will be a newer ship, and that is good. 41 staterooms only, of which 22 are the French balconies that the majority of people want. But those of you lucky people wanting suites, there are 13 suites on this ship, ranging from 430 square feet all the way up to 522 square feet. So let me just tell you this. I have had the privilege and honor of traveling the world. I've been to 108 countries, and I'm a big history guy, ancient history guy. Love, love, love ancient history. There is no place in the world, at least that I've been to, and I don't ever expect to find any place more historic with more history than Egypt, without a close second. Maybe Ephesus, the ruins of Ephesus. I love those ruins. That's so spectacular. You know, the Roman Colosseum and the Forum, but they don't, honestly, they don't even come close to what you'll see in Egypt. And we're going to talk about that through this whole trip. Matter of fact, this will be my third trip to Egypt doing a Nile River cruise. And I've only been to three destinations, or a same destination three times. I think only four times that I can remember in my career. And so that'll tell you a lot about why I want to do this again. And I'll tell you, we'll go through all this, but I don't think, I can promise you, you will love this. I promise you, you will feel safe. I promise you, you will have history that you will never, ever, ever find anywhere else really in the world. And if you've been to Egypt, we're going to go to a couple places different than what most people have seen if you've seen it in the past. The other thing, I'm praying the brand new museum in Cairo. I think they just call it the Egypt Museum. There's probably a bigger name for it than that, but it is supposed to be without question, the #1 museum in the world. It is 2 years behind schedule, but they're telling us, unfortunately, like they've told us the last 2 years, that this brand new museum will be open by the time we get there. And I hope so, because man, we saw the area that it was being constructed. We saw a part of it that was open, but is like 1/5 of what it will be. And it will have the largest collection of Egyptian artifacts anywhere in the world. And that says a lot, because believe it or not, the largest collection of artifacts, Egyptian artifacts, is in the History Museum in London. Okay, so let's go through this. You'll also have an incredible history and cultural experience here. In Cairo, kind of like Istanbul, big, gigantic city, a lot of people, kind of dirty, a lot of traffic, with some incredible history. And that is the most famous pyramids in the world, the pyramids of Giza, which you see on the right-hand side of this behind the mosque, and also the Sphinx. That is something. But this is also where the museums are in Cairo. And these museums, there's 2 of them that are open right now that we've been to both of them, and they are spectacular. They are so, so incredible. And we'll get to go through them, and they're all included in our tour. The other thing I want to tell you, they have the best guides. They are called, throughout this whole trip with AMA Waterways, we will be led by what are the titles are Egyptologists. And these people are trained. They are equivalent to our PhDs in education, but just in the history of Egypt. I'll tell you, They're fabulous. Some of the best guides I've ever had anywhere in the world are in Egypt. This is one of the insides of one of the museums, and even if the new one is not open, and I pray it is, but if it's not, you will absolutely love these two ruins. And of course, most everybody in the world, the best known pharaoh of all time was the boy pharaoh, King Tut. And when you get to see this picture does absolutely no justice of what this face mask on his sarcophagus looks like. It's just spectacular. All of these things throughout the museums that go back literally 5,000 years. Think about that. Some older than that. In fact, as we go through that, we're going to talk about that. I just get so excited about talking to you about the history that you're going to see there. And I'll tell you the reason why there's so much history in Egypt. First of all, the pharaohs ruled the world for over 2,000 years, okay? And they ruled it in southern Egypt, an area called Luxor. And I'll show you that in a little bit. Now, in the old days, the pharaohs did begin up around Cairo in an area called Memphis. And that's why in Memphis, Tennessee, there's the pyramid there for their sporting university team. Anyway, long story short, Cairo with the Sphinx and the three pyramids of Giza are just like nothing. I mean, when you see this will be one of the first sights you'll see. Is spectacular. But back to why there's so many ruins in this country that are still in great shape like these pyramids is because the weather is so, for the most part, hot and dry. Now, that's one reason why we are doing this in March. The weather will be in the 80s. If it gets up into the low 90s, it's a dry heat like Phoenix. But I have been there in September when it was 112, 114. We don't want to be there then. We want to be here now. So the weather will be very, very good here. Okay, here's the ship, the Yama. Actually, that's not the Dahlia. It's the Lalia that we will be on. So, but it's designed the same exact way. 41 suites, 41 staterooms, 22 French balconies, and 13 suites. Okay, now we will spend 2 nights and 3 days in Cairo. And then we will go to where the highlights of this experience will be. Starting in Luxor, we will fly from Cairo to Luxor. And Luxor is where, remember, I told you the headquarters of the pharaohs were for over 2,000 years. And what you're going to see there is beyond belief. I also want to tell you, the feel of that fast-paced, crowded, somewhat dirty Cairo will be totally uniquely different when you get to Luxor. I have had some of the best service I've ever had, some of the best hospitality I've ever had in this area. Why? Because these vendors, they could care less about what's going on in Cairo. They don't care about politics or religion. They care about you being treated great and spending your money with them, right? And that's what will happen. Outside of Luxor is the Valley of the Kings, and we will go there. And I will tell you, it is just absolutely amazing what you're going to see here. The last time we were there, I cannot promise this, but the last time when we were there, we did get to go into King Tut's tomb. And honestly, it's very small. It was not totally completed because he died quite early. But some of the other tombs that you will go into are absolutely spectacular, and this whole area is just unbelievable. And by the way, they have not found all the tombs in this whole area. Okay, the last time we were there, and I did not do this, but out of our group, and oh my gosh, we had a big group. I think we had 80. We took over an entire ship, and I think we had 80 people on the cruise. We had 78 exactly, and if I'm not mistaken, 32 to 34 of them went on the balloon trip over the Valley of the Kings. And yes, they had to get up real early in the morning to do it, but they said it was the highlight of the trip. So I wish I would have done it then. I'm going to do it this time, but that's optional. That's totally up to you. Well, guess what? It's not only the Valley of the Kings. It's the Valley of the Queens. Now, all of the kings' tombs are, in essence, they were buried. They were not supposed to be found. They were not visible. They were not a big, massive structure like a pyramid at all. That changed later on. But this Queen Hatshepsut, you will not believe her resting place, her tomb, because it is visible. She wanted to be known. And when you see this, you can see all the people in that. It's built in the side of the cliff like it is, and it's monstrous and it's magnificent. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. And I'm not going to tell you right now, but you're going to learn the history of how a woman in those days especially became the pharaoh, as important as she was, Queen Hatshepsut. Took me a long time to learn that. Now, this is quite amazing. In a lot of places we go, you're going to see the hieroglyphics, and you're going to be taught hieroglyphics, and you're going to learn all about their symbols and what was important to them. And the other thing that at least amazed me, and it amazes most everybody, that you will find out, like at this, and this, by the way, is an exclusive. I have not even been to this, the tomb of Queen Nefertari, excuse me. I think you will find this absolutely spectacular. And if I remember, she was the favorite queen and wife of Ramses, if I remember. So you will have a chance to go to Abu Simbel and see what I think is the most impressive ruins of all, and that's at Abu Simbel. So look at this. Look at all this. This is just fantastic, and I can't wait. This looks more like a museum than a tomb, doesn't it? We'll see. Most of you, if you watched the movie The Mummies or any of those things, Memnon was this was legendary, and this was the entrance back then, thousands and thousands of years ago, to the Valley of the Tombs, and we will go right by that. And if I'm not mistaken, these two ruins here are close, a little over 5,500 years old. Think about that, 5,500 years old. It's just amazing. And every day we will stop at one or two places that I promise you've never heard of, like Edfu, and you will see these incredible structures that are just magnificent. I have a picture there with people. I have a picture in my collection of people there, and you'll see the entrance doors on the left and on the right, or in the middle, the little doors, and people are about half of the size of the opening to those little doors. So this thing is gigantic, okay? And we'll go through all of this, and then the Egyptologists will train us and teach us about the history and who built these ruins and how old they are and that sort of thing. Okay, and all of this, you just cannot believe all of this. And then at one time they were all painted these beautiful colors. And on the outside, in most cases, the colors have been washed away with the sun. On the inside, a lot of these ruins, the colors are still there. I want you to think about that 5,000 or 6,000 years ago, and the colors are still, maybe not as vivid, of course, as they were, but still very, very definitely visible in the colors. So every place we go, you just will be, I mean, day after day, stop after stop, you're going to see things that will amaze you even more than anywhere else. Now, one of the favorite stops anywhere here is in Aswan. Now, we're in southern, way southern. If you just use by miles or percentages, we are way down in the southern part of Egypt, 3/4. If you look at all of Egypt, we're 3/4 the way south of Cairo, okay? So there's very, very little affiliation with all the craziness and wildness in Cairo. This is such a peaceful area, and Aswan is the biggest city in this area. You look at the boat with the sail, that's called a fluka, and we'll have a chance to go on that if they have some of the other boats. And we'll get to go to, we'll see ruins, we'll take a fluka ride on the Nile, and it is it's a fascinating experience. So much is included in all this, more than just looking at ruins. And you'll have a chance to go into some of the markets in certain places. There's the Fluka right there. And there's a couple of, gosh, I forget the name of the hotel, but there's a famous hotel that Humphrey Bogart had in one of the movies. Gosh darn, I'm drawing a blank on that. That was just Murder on the Nile. Murder on the Nile. And that hotel, we went there for appetizers and drinks before. Hopefully we'll do it with Ama. And that hotel is spectacular. Okay, also in Ash 1, you will have, it's an optional tour to see, again, what I think is perhaps arguably the most impressive ruins in the entire world. And it's the ruins of Ramses. It's his temple. It's also, which we don't show, I think maybe the next slide, I'll see it in a minute, has an equally large temple of his favorite wife, Nefertari, and that's in the cliff right next to this. Look at that, they built that in. And again, I wish we had a picture of a person in there, but when you get there and you see the size of this, you will be just absolutely blown away with how spectacular it is. Then you will, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, like so many of the places that we will see are. And the unique thing about this set of ruins was literally, if I remember right, 159 feet lower than it is now. And in the late 60s, the most brilliant architects and engineers and Egyptologists in the world, in the whole world, came to save Abu Simbel. Why I say save? That's when President Nasser decided to dam up the Nile River and have the big reservoir there, or lake, like Nasser. And this would have been below water level. And again, they built this, they tore it down, the whole mountain, the whole cliff, both of them, as you'll see in a second, and moved it up. I want to say 159 feet, something like that. Not exactly positive of that, but the whole thing is just mind-boggling to believe they could do it. And then, are you ready for this? They didn't do it as well as the Egyptians did 5,000, 6,000 years ago. But why I know that, how they tell you that. Do you remember in Raiders of the Lost Ark where Harrison Ford went in with his sepulcher and it had the open area, and on, I think, the first day of spring, if I remember it, the sun came down through. Well, that's the door right there. It comes down through, its faces east. And the sun went through 3 different rooms back built into this. And the experts in the late 60s, I believe it was 69 when it was finished, was they were one day off. They missed it by 1 day. There we go. Okay, here is an example of how huge they are with people in the picture. Isn't that something? Oh my gosh, just, to me, absolutely amazing. Just beyond belief they could build something like that. There is a good picture. I think I might have taken that picture because I thought it gave a lot better perspective of what this looks like built into the cliff. Okay, and unfortunately it does not have the same built into the cliff. Right to the right of this is the Queen Nefertari, which is not quite, but almost as impressive as this set of ruins. Colombo, all these places we go. Now, here's an interesting thing. Napoleon and every conqueror of the world, from Mark Antony with Cleopatra, remember that? With Napoleon, Rommel did the same thing, and Alexander the Great, many conquerors of the world. They would come here, French especially, because Napoleon carved his initials, or had carved his initials, into one of those columns. So for whatever reason, the French come to this set of ruins. They're so impressed to see Napoleon's. There we go. Here's a good example of it from a little bit of a distance away. Oh, wait till you see the columns. Everywhere we go, you're going to see columns that you just cannot believe. And the other thing we wanted to give you, Ama does, but it's very definitely we should. In southern Egypt, they are very close to what is now the country of Sudan. In Sudan, there's still the Nubianese people, and the Nubians were the warriors and the protectors of the pharaohs, 6,000, 7,000 years ago, all the way through the pharaoh's rules. So we will go to a Nubian village, and they still live so simply and so similar, if you will, to how they lived generations and generations and generations and generations ago. Okay. Yes, you will get a chance to ride a camel. You'll get several chances, both by the pyramids, of course. I've got a picture on my desk of me on a camel with the pyramids in the background, and you'll get that same chance. And there's camel rides and opportunities everywhere. But again, we will come back to Luxor, and there's two gigantic temples there. Karnak, do you remember, all of you that are old enough remember Johnny Carson, and he'd dress up as Karnak the Magnificent and come up with a vision or an answer to a question or a problem. And this is where he got that from, the Karnak Temple in Luxor. And wait till you see that. You'll see an opportunity. You'll have an opportunity to see how papyrus. Remember, this is where some of the first writing in the world happened, and they did it with the hieroglyphics on papyrus. Okay. You'll get a chance to do shopping. And by the way, Luxor and Aswan are two of the better places to go shopping, as in Cairo too, of course. But the bazaars that you'll get to go through like this are just fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And our dollar is so strong there. So if you want to buy things, you'll be able to buy some pretty nice things for not a lot of money. Okay, I just love this. I have not, in my two other trips, not been to Kina. And look at this. And this is a really good example. If you look up on the very top of the roof, you will see some colors there on the columns. And again, just keep in mind, 5,000 to 6,000 years, and you can still see colors. At least to me, I just thought that was mind-boggling. And the Egyptologists, again, every place we go, will tell us why this place was special, why it was built, who built it, when it was built, that sort of thing. But I'm excited about this because I haven't seen it before. Temple of Hathor there. Again, I don't know enough about Hathor, but I'm going to find out probably before I go. Look at the ruins on the left. Do you see the colors in those above the doorway? Unbelievable to me. Unbelievable. And you will see some of the things that will just amaze you. After we get done with a 7-day cruise in southern Egypt, we will fly from Luxor back to Cairo, and we will have we will end up flying out. The flights are late. We'll fly out late that night. Okay, so here is the ship itself. Actually, the Amadalia is it's the ship that Amma has right now. We will be on the Amalilia, and that will be the new ship. It's actually coming out this year. Should be out in the next 2 or 3 months. So it'll be about 9 months old when we get on it. But architecturally, it'll look a lot like this. 3 levels, with the top level being a sun deck, but 3 levels of accommodations and dining and a lounge. And you will see the French balconies there. They do not have the outside, or they're not allowed to have outside veranda balconies like we're used to on ocean cruise ships or some river cruise ships, but they have the French balconies there. Okay, there we go. So here's the Amadalia, and by the way, the Amalilia will be 82 passengers. So this tells you all about this ship, and this ship is out right now. It was built a few years ago, so you'll just know this is one of the most luxurious ships on the, especially the one we'll be on the entire Nile River. So we'll go through, and by the way, gosh, we're not sure what hotel we'll be staying at. We've stayed at the Four Seasons, the Intercontinental, and the JW Marriott 3 different times I've been there, and they were all 3 spectacular. Again, a lot of these areas like Cairo is a bit like New Delhi or Calcutta. you know, there are the ultra wealthy and then a lot of poverty. So you'll see that in Cairo, but the ultra wealthy is what we'll get to experience as far as the hotels. So, yep, this is very nice. We're showing inside the ship now. And by the way, I did find the food to be very good, very, very good. And I'm a little bit picky. There's, matter of fact, I don't know if I've ever had a complaint on food or service. Amma does such a great job. You'll find the hospitality is so wonderful in, well, in all of Egypt. But look at this. This is on top of the ship. This is the biggest pool. And this is Amadalia, so the Amalilia, I'm sure because it's architecturally the same, we'll have this size pool. So bring your swim suit and swim trunks, okay? There we go, good look of what you'll see and experience. And they do have, usually not, well, they have a barbecue once or twice for lunch, but other than that, they just have a drink service on top. There's an example of the rooms, very well appointed. My guess the decor will be a little bit different on the new ship because that's how they like to make sure, you know, it's new. And on ours, we'll have 13 suites, not 16 suites, okay? But this will give you the price points. The price points will start at the upper wall windows. And what that means, there's a window just on top, but no balcony, $68.95 per person. And that includes an awful lot. The French balconies, depending on where you are in the ship, go from $84.48. That'll be on one of the lower categories. And then the French balcony in a category CA is $87.98. Then you get into the suites, and there's the luxury suite, the grand suite, and the owner suite. And again, like I said earlier, the suites run from 430 square feet up to 522 square feet. And that's one of the benefits of the new ships. Okay, now we have done what's called, actually right now I have a full ship charter planned on this. I've got the entire ship. I think it is August 9th, if I remember it. Yeah, I believe it's August 9th. I have to make a decision if I want to reduce that from having all 41 staterooms to whatever number of staterooms I want less than that. But because they give me a discount to offer to you, they determine how we pay for it. And so they don't want to pay the merchant fee. Normally, you know, you give us a credit card, we give your credit card to the cruise line and they eat the merchant fee. They don't want to do that this time. So, and they ask for it in 3 different payments. And I can't blame them a bit when something is a year out. So the deposit amount where we can actually assign a cabin to you is $1,500 per person, 45% of the booking total due by August 9th, and then the balance due November 8th. Okay, and these are non-refundable, so I would really recommend that you get travel insurance before the final payment in November 8th. And if you have pre-existing conditions, please talk to us about getting insurance a little bit earlier. Now, while they are non-refundable, they are transferable. So if it was like the last one, we literally had a waiting list. So as it says, the prices reflect a discount for cash or check payments. I guess most of you aren't going to bring in cash of that amount, but we'll take it if you do. But most people just send us a check. You guys remember how to write those checks, right? Now, there's some other optional costs, and we'll go over that with you. Airfare from the United States and travel insurance, of course, will not be included. Gratuities are included, however. So if you have any questions, just call us, please, at 505-1500, 816 area code 505-1500. Ask for myself or Lynette, or if you've got a vacation advisor here at Cruise Holidays, just tell them you want to know about the Egypt cruise, Nile River cruise that Mark Comfort is hosting. Now, on the bottom in red, I've never been to Dubai. Had several chances and opportunities, never been to Dubai. They do have a Dubai pre-cruise package that I'm going to host. If you so desire, I'd love to have you go with me, but if you'd prefer to go to Jordan, you are welcome to do that too. They have a pre-package to Jordan. And if you do that, you can do a post-package to Dubai. I just like to do my pre-cruise packages, or I like to do the cruise packages pre versus post personally. So, but that's it. And I got to tell you, I'll just go back through here a little bit and have you look at everything. And I just want to tell you, I love doing these hosted groups. I love them. I do 4 or 5 a year. And it gives me a chance to slow down and catch up and learn more about you and find out about your stories. And while we see a lot, you know, these river cruises are my favorite way to vacation right now, because you kind of go slow. You see a lot, but you go slow. It's just a perfect. Yeah, remember that ship is designed just like that. We're just going to have the new one, the Ama Lilia. There's Cairo. Oh man, Cairo is so special. That's going to be my, I love it, because if you haven't been there, and by the way, we have more and more people going back to Egypt like I have done, a second and a third and a fourth time. But going to someplace new, I'm so excited about that, and you will be too. And the cultural experience is fascinating, as is the history. The history part of this entire experience is like second to none. And, you know, I want you to know, I know a lot of people with what's going on in Israel, and they want to know about safety in Egypt. And I will tell you, if there's problems, AMA Waterways will not take us there. And I trust them. I mean, I know the owners of AMA Waterways very well. We're their 5th largest customer in the world. They take care of people, and they do the right thing better than any vendor that we use. And I really mean that sincerely. So, boy, this is a optional tour for you to Abu Simbel. And I do recommend strongly that you do that. So, and by the way, if you want to come in, set an appointment with me to talk about this individually, or a phone conversation or a Zoom conversation, I'd be happy to do that at any time. We've literally got 1 full year for you to save and plan to go on this incredible. I mean, I promise you, you will not see anything in your entire life, promise you, that will be anywhere near close in the field of ancient history, the field of ruins that you will see. And you will learn so much. All those Egyptologists, I still communicate with our Egyptologists from what was it, 3 years ago? Right after, 2.5 years ago, right after COVID, everything opened up from COVID. And by the way, a lot of people were nervous going right after COVID, because we had that full ship charter, till they got on the ship, and then everybody was comfortable. Everybody loved it. Everybody felt safe the entire time. Health-wise and fear-wise, they felt safe the entire time. Okay, so everybody, thank you so much. I hope you will join me about a year from now, March 24th through April 4th. And if you do Dubai with me, it's let's see, is Dubai, I think it's 3 nights. So it'll be 23rd, 22nd, 21st. So we'll leave the United States on the 20th, get to Dubai on the 21st, spend the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, seeing what we want to see in Dubai, and then they will fly us from Dubai to Cairo. Okay, thank you, everybody, and I will talk to you soon, and I hope I see you, hopefully before, but if not, at least on the Nile in Egypt in March and April 2024. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.